All right, we can begin.
All right, we're going to begin this hearing. Animal Matters Board, in reference to a Labrador Retriever, Great Dane. The charges are against a Natalie Ferris. And the way this is going to proceed is that the Humane Society is going to present their case to the board. You can ask questions of their witnesses, and then you can present your case, and then the board is going to deliberate and reach a decision today. So, Madam County Attorney, do you want to give an opening?
Absolutely. Good morning, Board. My name is Liz Moore. I am Assistant County Attorney, and I am here on behalf of the Humane Society of Carroll County. Ms. Dawn Kennett Andrew and I appear before you today in regard to an appeal from the decision made by the Humane Society in regard to the determination that the dog Tucker is a vicious dog. For a bit of background, the owner of Tucker is Mr. Nick and Anna Ferris, who appear before you today, and they reside at 3691 Falling Green Way, Mount Airy, Maryland. Tucker is a black and white male Labrador Retriever and Great Dane mix, and he is over 1 year of age. The Carroll County Code explicitly states that a vicious dog is any animal that constitutes by its actions a physical threat to human beings or domestic animals or both. On December 30th of 2024, Tucker ran from its owner's residence unprovoked when a doorbell was rung and attacked a 5-year-old child and a 10-year-old child, both receiving multiple bites and had serious medical conditions thereafter. Both children did require medical care, including one who needed 7 stitches total, and to this day is greatly in fear of any dog that he encounters. Therefore, the Humane Society of Carroll County respectfully requests that you uphold the decision that Tucker is a vicious dog. We look forward to presenting more. Thank you.
What was the date of that?
December 30th of 2024.
The Ferrises, do you wish to provide an opening statement to the board? This is not testimony, this is just an opening statement of what your evidence is going to show.
Sure. Sorry. My name is Natalie Ferris. I am Tucker's mother. Tucker came to us when he was about 2.5 years old, so he's 3 now, and he was a rescue. We have multiple dogs in our family. When he came to us, we had a total of 4. Now we have 3 because one passed. It's himself, which is the largest dog in the family, and we have 2 other smaller dogs that are around 20 pounds each. One's a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, and one's a Boston Terrier. Tucker is he's a lap dog. He's obviously a black lab and Dane mix. He's a really big teddy bear. And what I would like to say is that, and we will hopefully be able to show you some photos of, to give you guys some context as to the surroundings, but I know that I don't know how to say it.
I got it.
No,
You got it?
I'm fine. We have a fully fenced-in yard, and so Tucker is not able to get out. He has never gotten out of the backyard. This was an incident that happened one time when we opened the front door and he ran out. So this was a one-time issue. This is not something that is chronic. This is not something that is that he has done in the past. He is in control on our property the entire time. This did happen on our property, and I think that even though unprovoked, the front door, and you will see the front door is completely glass, and so he could see everything that's going on through the door. So it's very hard to keep a dog calm when there's somebody at the door. They always want to see what's going on, and in this case, he broke through the door. And
No, I opened the door.
he opened the door.
Yeah, so they were 4 or 5 kids that came up to the house, knocking on the door, ringing the doorbell, wanting to let me know that our smaller dog had jumped through the fence. He's no threat. He does it all the time, and, it's just one of the things. The kids were always comfortable coming to the house saying, "Hey, Eddie got out, guys." And I'm like, "Okay, let me go get him, and I'll open the garage door, and he'll run right back in." In this case, Tucker was there, and I was in the office working, so they were knocking for a little bit longer time than normal. When I got to the door, I opened the door, and Tucker ran out, and there were 5 kids on the porch, and we'll show you photos of how large the porch is. All the kids were standing on the porch. So from a dog's perspective, is that a threat? I don't know. But he felt the need to clear the porch and do what he did. Completely our fault, not my dog's fault. So I am not disclaiming anything. I just want to show you the facts that are in front of us. They were all on our porch knocking on the door, and when I opened the door, he ran out. I attempted to grab him, and I could not grab his collar in time.
What were they on your porch for? Were they returning a dog to you
Exactly.
that got loose in the neighborhood?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you have a fence, so how to get in the neighborhood?
He's a smaller dog.
Gets
Squeeze
through your
through.
fence?
He'll dart through it, the smallest
And
one.
you'll see the fence, you can,
So have these children been to your house before?
Yes.
Okay, I think we're veering off from the opening
sorry.
statement.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And you can get into all this during your testimony point.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, Ms. Moore, you want to proceed?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to call my first witness, Dawn Kennett Andrew. Can you please state your name and address for the record?
It's Dawn Kennett Andrew, 2517 Littlestown Pike, Westminster, Maryland.
And who are you employed by?
The Humane Society of Carroll County,
How long have you been with the Humane Society?
13 years.
What is your current position?
I'm the Animal Control Administrator.
Are you familiar with Tucker?
Yes.
How did you become familiar with this situation?
I received a phone call from Brian Crumplebacker. I apologize if that's incorrect. Calling into the shelter to follow up from a bite that had happened, and was wanting to see where it was status-wise. And it found out that the police had not forwarded any information to us the evening of that bite. So he filed a complaint with us in regards to the incident with his son and the neighbor children.
Thank you. Are you familiar with Chapter 90 titled Animals of Carroll County Code of Ordinances?
Yes.
Could you please read the definition of vicious animal under the definition section of Chapter 90?
Yes. So a vicious animal is any animal that constitutes by its actions a physical threat to human beings, other domestic animals, or both.
Thank you. Could you please further read Chapter 90, Section 15A?
That is declaring an animal to be a public nuisance or vicious animal. A is the Animal Care and Control Authority may determine that an animal is a public nuisance or a vicious animal. If an animal is determined to be a public nuisance or vicious, the owner shall have the right to appeal the county commissioners or a board of appeals appointed by the county commissioners or town council when applicable in an incorporated limits of a town or city within 10 days. The request for an appeal shall be made in writing and received on or before the 10th day. A date and time will be set for an appeal hearing.
Could you also read Chapter 90, Section 8A?
That is vicious or dangerous animals. Every vicious animal, as determined by the Animal Care and Control Authority, shall be confined by the owner within a building or secure enclosure and shall be securely muzzled or caged whenever off the premises of its owner or restrained as otherwise directed by Animal Care and Control Authority. Upon determination by the Animal Care and Control Authority that animal is vicious and after the exhaustion of any appeals, the owner shall have the animal microchipped for permanent identification by a licensed veterinarian within 10 days, and the corresponding microchip data shall be given to the Animal Care and Control Authority. If an owner of an animal determined to be vicious or potentially dangerous sells or give the animal to another person, the owner shall provide written notice to the Animal Care and Control Authority that makes the determination and state the name, address, and of the new owner of the animal and notify the person taking possession of the animal in writing of the animal's vicious or potential dangerous behavior and the circumstances surrounding its vicious or potentially dangerous determination.
Thank you. That was a lot.
It was.
I would like to enter into the hearing, the code as Exhibit A. Dixon, do you want me to proceed, or do you need to accept this into evidence? I know
Go
it's a
ahead.
lot, sorry, it's a lot.
Go ahead and proceed.
Thank you. Why was Tucker deemed a vicious animal?
Tucker was deemed vicious due to the severity of the bite to the one child, and the fact that these children are playing freely in the neighborhood and have gone back to this porch multiple times in the past to return animals, so that they thought it was a safe area. That turned out not to be.
So the fear is that a repeat incident would occur.
Correct.
As a result of the attack that occurred, was a letter sent to the owner of Tucker, Miss Natalie Ferris, and Mr. Nick Ferris, notifying them that a dog was deemed vicious pursuant to Chapter 90.
Yes.
What does this letter provide and state for?
This provides them that we are putting them on notice that we are deeming their dog a vicious animal, and the guidelines to follow while owning a vicious animal.
Is what I'm showing you a copy of that letter?
It is.
Miss Karen Baker, Director of the Humane Society, signed this letter. Are you familiar with her signature?
Yes.
How did you become familiar with her signature?
Years of working with her, and I watched her sign it.
So you prepared and drafted this letter, and then you watched her sign it, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. I would like to enter this letter as Exhibit B. Can you please tell me what the date of this letter was?
It was drafted March 27th, 2025,
And why was it drafted 3 months after the incident occurred?
because the complaint was not filed until 2 days prior to that, when the complainant was getting a follow-up from the initial bite reports.
Thank you. Are you aware if Tucker currently has a dog license as required under the Carroll County Code of Ordinances?
As of 2 days ago, we did not have one on file.
Thank you so much. No further questions.
The Ferrises, do you wish to question the witness?
Yeah, I have no idea what they're talking about a license. All the information was done.
No, at this point, you're questioning that witness.
So
that's
would you
what-
like to see the paperwork? Just curious.
Sure.
For all the dog license and notifications and chipping and everything that was required by the county. So it was filed. Immediately receiving
We just haven't received
information
that
from
yet.
Carroll County.
Perfect. We accept that these are good and that they were just entered after we had last checked. They just haven't come
2
to us
days ago?
yet.
Okay.
Sorry,
Yeah,
we can
so
keep
the
this back.
license was purchased through an outlet that we have not received them from. It usually every month we receive those, so that's why we haven't got record of them.
Okay. The timing doesn't matter, but the recording is.
We got it,
recording.
so that's good. Thank you.
You have any other questions?
No, not at this time.
All right, call your next witness.
Thank you. I would like to call Officer Samantha Kipe. Good morning. Can you please state your name and address for the record?
Samantha Kipe, and address is 2517 Littlestown Pike in Westminster, Maryland, 21158.
And you are employed by who?
The Humane Society of Carroll County and Animal Control.
How long have you been with Humane Society?
Approximately 4 years.
What is your current position?
I am the field supervisor of Animal Control.
Are you familiar with the incident and Tucker?
Yes.
How did you become familiar with the situation?
I was dispatched the call after we received a complaint following up on a bite report that was filed in December, and we received it in March of 2025.
So the first time you responded to the incident was in March of 2025?
Yes, that's correct.
And what happened on that date when you responded?
I first made a phone call to our witness, Brian Krupenbaker. Sorry if that's incorrect stating. And when I spoke with him, he indicated that his neighbor's dog would frequently get out of the house and out of the fence. So his children and a couple other neighbor children would return the dog, go knock on the front door, let them know, and then they would collect their dog. And on this day in December, they went to return the dog. When they knocked on the dog ran through the front door and happened to bite Krupenbaker's son, requiring him to get 7 stitches, and there was also another bite, and then along with they stated that the dog ran over to another child at the same incident and bit that child on the knee, and then all the children ran to Mr. Krupenbaker's house and were screaming and saying that the dog bit me, I'm bleeding, and Mr. Krupenbaker was able to administer first aid to the children, and then they transported both children and the other mother to the hospital.
Thank you. And the other child's name, could you confirm what that is?
I believe it was Jace Dupree. if
Thank
that's
you.
correct on this.
And you prepared a activity card with the summary of the incident and all other actions thereafter, correct?
Yes.
Right, I'm going to show you a copy of that. Is this a copy of the activity card as prepared by you?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. And it walks through all the steps, including the actions taken thereafter, the delivery of the letter, et cetera, correct?
Yes.
All right, thank you. I would like to enter into the court the activity card as Exhibit C.
Something I should have done, but I didn't, but I'll do it now, is swear in the witness. Will you stand and raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can continue.
Thank you, Mr. Dixon. That was a good break as I run back and forth and get my cardio in this morning. Were any bite reports prepared in relation to this attack?
Yes, we received one that was prepared from the Carroll County Sheriff's Office.
So was there one report for each child, correct?
Yes, we received a bite report for each child.
Thank you. I am going to show you a copy of the first report. Could you please state which child that's for?
This is for Blake Krupenbacker.
Thank you. And I'm going to show you the other one. Which child is this for?
This is for Jace Dupree.
Thank you. And both of these were prepared by the police department, are then sent to the Carroll County Health Department. They were provided to you, and they also go to the vet, the hospital, everybody involved, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. I would like to go ahead and enter the bite reports as Exhibit D and E. Did each child require medical care as a result of these bites?
Yes, both were treated at the local hospital.
Thank you. No further questions.
What was the answer to that?
I had asked her if each child required medical care as a result of bites. I'll let you re-answer that.
Yes, both were treated at the local hospital.
In the local hospital being Carroll County?
Yes.
Is that the end of your, okay, where's the- do the Ferrises, do you wish to ask any questions of the witness?
No, not at this time. I mean, we're agreeing to the situation. There was one point of clarification. I just want to make sure you guys are, when the story was said, the smaller dog is the one that notoriously gets out. He's a Boston and he can dart through the fence, but he always comes back, not a threat. It was when the smaller dog got out, the larger dog in the house, when I opened the door, is the one that came out.
Okay.
As they were returning. It sounded as if it was described as the larger dog
I'm
broke
sorry.
through the front door. No one broke through any door. I opened the door.
Okay. Anything, you have any rebuttal or anything? Okay, call your next witness.
Can we ask a question?
Oh, yeah, you can.
I want to.
Definitely not you, gosh.
Can I say something? So on the activity card, I mean, we're assuming that the son and a neighbor were not returning Tucker. I think that was an
Yes.
error. They were returning either the King Charles or the Boston
The
Terrier.
Boston Terrier, yes.
Okay. And the second point on Exhibit D, I mean, there was some question about a license. It looks like Tucker's vaccination for rabies or had expired September 24, and he bit on December 30th. So are you saying his rabies vaccine was expired at that time, or was that his license?
We also did not create those reports. Those were created by the police department.
So this may mean not what it...
We'll take their word for what, if they've got,
We have,
He was a rescue and barely 6 months old, so we knew his medical records, and we immediately took him to the doctor, and we can
We have
offer
the-
this information if you would like.
Okay, so I think to clarify what you're saying is his rabies vaccine had expired when he bit? No, it had not.
It had not.
It had
He did
not.
not have a license at the
He
time.
didn't have a license.
Correct.
Okay.
And now,
Thank you.
after receiving the letter, we have
You
gotten
got
the
him a license, got it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for clarifying. Small details.
Any other questions by the board? About any of the exhibits or the testimony? Okay, you can call your next witness now.
thank you. I would like to call to the stand Brian Krupenbacher and Adrian Zanti. We could all be mispronouncing this, so I'm going to get them to clarify in just a second.
Krupenbacher and Zanti. The K really messes it up.
So close there.
Instead of the H like Bach, you know.
Can you spell your last name?
KRUPPENBAC I'm sorry, yep.
E-N-B-A-C.
KER. Krupp Pen.
What's your first name?
Brian, BRIAN.
And Miss
Were you
Adrian.
sworn in, or do I need to swear you
They
in?
swore, yeah.
Stood up.
Did you?
in the back.
Okay.
Yep. Said yes.
Perfect, thank you. I'm going to ask this question once, and I'll have you both repeat kind of one after the other for me. Could you please state your name and address for the record?
Adrian Zanti, 3695 Falling Green Way, Mount Airy, Maryland.
How do you spell your last name?
Zanti.
And what's your first name?
Adrian, it's Adriane.
Okay.
Brian Krupenbacher.
I've got you.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say, and we've already done that.
And then if you could just state your address.
3695 Falling Green Way, Mount Airy, Maryland, 21771.
Thank you. How long have you each resided at this address?
Just over 2 years. We moved in January 30th of 23.
Thank you. And you are both the biological parents of your son, correct, Blake?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. No. We're going to do one at a time. Brian Krupenbacher, you first.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes.
No.
think you have to
We're
get- we're
doing
gonna do
all him, and then we'll do all her.
Sorry, Tim.
We can't mix and match.
All good.
With testimony.
I am going to show, Brian, you're up first into the hot chair then. I'm going to show you a affidavit of which you assisted in preparing and have reviewed closely. Can you please confirm that you assisted in the drafting of this affidavit?
Yes.
All of these details were provided by you, correct?
Yes, myself and Adrian, yes.
Thank you. Is that your signature on the last page?
Yes.
And there are two attached exhibits, which are images to this affidavit. Can you please confirm that you or Adrian took these photographs?
Yes.
These
Adrian did.
photographs, thank you, accurately depict the injuries that were sustained by your son, Blake?
Yes, they do.
Thank you. And the contents of this affidavit and its attached exhibits are true to the best of your knowledge under penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Thank you. Adrian, your turn.
Okay, no. Do you folks have any questions? Let me see. Do the Ferrises have any questions of
Brian.
Brian?
We haven't seen the affidavit, so,
You want to share that?
I'm going to enter it once I ask Adrian her questions.
No. Why can't you do it now?
I couldn't do it now. Thank
Can we ask questions at this point?
Yes.
One question is, when this incident occurred, did you ask us to get any kind of information from the veterinary?
That's outside of the scope of what was in the affidavit or the testimony.
He didn't testify about anything that happened on the day of the bite?
On the day of the bite, but not about veterinary care thereafter or anything like that, no.
No, on the day of the bite, when it happened, did you contact us to let us know?
Yes, Adrian contacted them via text message and phone call, I believe.
And did we provide the information that you required?
Yes, so we were looking for the rabies report for the officer, I believe. The rabies and the license.
Thank you.
And that was provided. Just to be clear,
That's what
upon request.
That's all.
Did you answer?
Yes. He said,
Yes, I said we received the rabies report.
Okay.
Yes. Not sure we received the license.
Any other questions?
no more questions.
Okay.
Sure.
You have anything else for Brian?
No further questions.
Okay. Then let's, board members, do you have any questions for Brian?
We're just getting this now, so.
It's a lot to read.
Brian, it sounds like your son is having psychological distress after the attack. Has he received treatment for that, or
No treatment.
no treatment?
He has not received any treatment for it, but he was greatly affected by it, as I stated in there, yes.
And your son had, it appears, a number of times gone over to the residence to return another dog, so he thought this was just one more time that he was returning a dog.
Yes. Him as well as the other kids, yes.
Was the other kid. So do you know about how many times your son had returned a dog to this home?
Yeah, too many, more than 10 over the course since we first moved in. I believe he was getting out from the
So
very
in the 2
beginning.
years since you've lived there, he had returned a dog about every other month? 10 times would be?
Yes, or as we stated in there as well, Adrian and I, Adrian would text and let them know.
Okay. and then
Or
you-
I also returned the dog once myself. Eddie,
did.
we're referring to Eddie, returned Eddie once myself, yes.
Let me ask a question to the owners of the dogs. They're,
We're not with them, we're just dealing with Brian testimony. Well, we can deal with them when it's their turn to testify.
And had you notified animal control that the smaller dogs were escaping, or you just were being a good neighbor and bringing them back?
Yes, had not notified animal control.
You did not?
Just was being a good neighbor, all of us, right?
Just
And
trying to, okay.
only found out after I called to follow up on the report of where it was with the incident, that I could report a dog getting loose, to have it on record that it's happened X
okay.
number of times, right? I didn't know that. We had just moved to
Okay,
the
so
area.
prior to that time, your son had no interactions with Tucker?
Prior to which time?
Any times prior to this one?
He did have interaction with Tucker, prior to this, yes, Tucker's outside, out back, as our kids would play on their tramp.
But he was in the yard.
He was behind the
He
fence,
was
yes,
behind the
while our
fence.
kids were on
Right,
our
so there was
driveway.
no direct interaction.
No, no direct interaction. You are correct, yes.
Okay.
Any other questions of this witness? Okay, you can move on to your next witness.
Adrian, now it's your turn. You also have a copy of the joint affidavit. Did you assist in preparing and redlining and reviewing closely and drafting this affidavit?
Yes.
So this was prepared by you and Brian?
Yes.
And is that your signature on the last page?
Yes.
And the attached exhibits that were images of your son and the injury sustained due to the incident with Tucker, either you or Brian took those photos?
I took them.
And the contents of this affidavit and its attached exhibits, they are true to the best of your knowledge and under penalty of perjury.
Yes.
No further questions.
Do the Ferrises have any questions for this witness?
No.
Okay, board members, do you have any questions for this witness?
No.
Okay, you can call your next witness.
No further witnesses.
Do you have any other exhibits?
No further exhibits.
All right, then all these exhibits A through F will be accepted into evidence. Is that your case?
That is my case.
Okay. Mr. and Mrs. Ferris, it's your time to give your testimony to the board one at a time. You can't one of you and then the other one. Which one were we going to start with?
I'll speak.
Okay. And
Thank you, Mr. Dixon.
And what's your name?
It's actually Kyle, K-Y-L-E, Ferris. I don't know who Nick is, but might be a distant cousin.
You got a surprise extra name now.
I got too many extra names. So I'd just like to offer up an exhibit showing a photo of our dog, the property line, and how he's currently confined, if that's okay.
Sure.
Can I see a copy of that? Real quick, sorry, I just want to glance at it first.
Oh, well, the whole thing, yeah.
Yeah, I'll just flip through these super fast.
And this is, so the photos would be showing a picture of the dog.
I'll keep them in the order.
The perimeter of the house, the front porch, how large it is, the neighbor's yard, and also the harness we've now purchased for the dog in order to make sure that I can easily grab him if anything were to happen.
Sorry, trying to keep
You
in
just
order.
have one copy of this?
Yeah, we didn't.
Okay, that's
no.
fine. I'm just.
I have
You
no,
can have it.
I have no objection to those.
All right, I'll put an exhibit sticker on there.
And then if you would like the registering
We've already reviewed them,
information,
so
we've already
no
reviewed them,
objection.
Except, do I need to offer them as an exhibit?
Yes.
Okay, now the board has these.
Mr. Dixon, would you like the shot record?
Sure, but, so the board has what I called opposition exhibit 1. You want to talk to the board about what's in this package first?
Yes, sir. I can do that.
Okay.
So what you're gonna see here is some photos of our baby Tucker. He's obviously a very large animal. He was a rescue. We had lost our German Shepherd to a disease, and it had been a few months, and we decided it's time we wanted another larger dog. And watching the morning news one day, there was a rescue on TV, and they say, well, black dogs are impossible to get rid of because they don't photo well. And we took a chance, and we drove down to Anne Arundel County. We met him. We took another one of our dogs, Eddie, because he seems to be the alpha of the house, even though he's the smallest. And they seem to get along okay. So we gave it a shot. So we rescued a dog that was severely beaten, and he has been just wonderful with us so far. And then you'll also see in there the perimeter of our fence. It's about quarter or just over an acre of land, and it's all fenced in. He obviously cannot get through the fence. Going back to, you'll also see a photo in there, based upon the recommendation from the vicious control, he has to be on a leader that's tied in the backyard. So he has a leader that's out there, but now he doesn't like to go outside. So as soon as I put him on it, he'll take one step and just stop. So I can't get him to go outside and exercise with this leader, which is leading me to the point of, we're not denying anything that happened. We're just saying the only thing we would like lifted is to have that leash in the backyard removed, since he is confined in the backyard. The attack happened at the front door, which he wears a harness during the day. But if the leader could be removed in the backyard, then he would have more room to exercise, because wearing that leader, he will not run around. He just takes like 2 or 3 steps, and he doesn't like to exercise that way. So that's to the point, that's our want. We just don't want him to wear a leader in the backyard legally. All other restrictions and everything we're admitting and adhering to with the county. And I don't have anything else to say. Thank you for your time.
Tim, I do have a brief question.
Okay, what's your cross-exam?
Thank you. Mr. Ferris, you had stated that Tucker has an unfortunate past, correct?
That's our understanding.
But he's not shown, has he shown any other signs of aggression since you've adopted him?
Not that I know of.
And
We have a 12-year-old daughter. We have friends and family that come over. You know, it's just like most dogs. He'll bark and jump once you're in the house.
does he have any guarding instincts at all?
Not that I'm aware of. The smaller one is like I said, is the alpha. He runs the house.
No further questions.
Thank you.
All right, board members, do you have any questions for Mr. Ferris?
Hi,
The 3 dogs that you have, they were all rescues?
Yeah,
No.
no, actually, 2 of them, the 2 smaller ones are purebreds. And-
Oh, wait a minute. He's the witness.
Sorry.
I don't.
Mr. Martin, so the 2 smaller ones are purebreds, AKC, Boston Terrier, and King Charles, and we had a German Shepherd, again, AKC. When he passed is when we wanted to have another larger dog in the house, so we decided to go
Is
to a
Tucker
rescue.
neutered?
Yes,
What about the smaller ones?
they are, sir.
Okay.
Who's the veterinarian that you usually take Tucker to?
It's in Mount Airy, is the vet. Dr. Harmis is her name.
It's on
They-
the,
It's on the information I turned
Do
in.
they usually have any troubles treating him when you take him there?
No, sir. And he also goes to a groomer to get his nails done at Country Kennel in Mount Airy as well. He would go there about once a month.
Oh, you ought to try that yourself. That's fun.
There's never been any complaints about his personality
sir.
or attitude.
No, sir. He walks into for his puppy spa day just fine.
I have a question. You're stating that according to the letter, when you walk him in your yard, he has to be either, I think the restrictions are in a kennel or on a
Lead.
leash. You're calling a leader a leash? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, there's a photo in there. It's a steel rod that we attach to his harness, and it's a heavy, very steel.
Must be on the dog.
And when he is in the backyard, the other requirement is that we have to be with him as well.
Right.
So we do both.
So you go in the yard with him, and he's on a leash? A leash?
Correct.
Like a 6-foot leash?
no. A
It's
lead
about
that
a
is-
45, it's about a 45-foot lead,
Okay.
steel
Oh.
rod. There's a photo in there. You'll see it. It's on the back porch. I'm sorry.
With a steel rod, do you mean you stick it in the ground?
There's one in the ground, and then the
We
rope.
must be missing that one.
Yeah, there's no picture.
There, but I got.
You want to come up and show the
Yeah, I
board
don't
which
see
picture
what-
you're referring to?
They have it.
Well, you want to come up and show the board what it is you're referring to?
Maybe that's.
You can come up too, Elizabeth. if you want to see it.
Is this what you're talking about?
That is one of them, but you'll see it on there should be a back porch.
There you go.
Yeah, so when we let him out, we latch him here, and it's about 100 feet.
So is that something new?
Yeah, based upon the requirements of the
Okay.
county, he has to be on that, even though he's inside a confined
Okay.
cage. My want is to.
Has there ever been any bite incidents before, prior to this one?
No, sir.
Kyle?
So you put him on a 45-foot,
Lead
leash,
inside of a fence jar.
and then you attach it to a steel pole in the ground. But are you out there with him?
Correct, we are, based
Okay.
upon the law.
Okay, so you're not holding it. If you hold it and walk, does he walk with you?
Not very, but the idea is for me to play ball and let them run and exercise, so it's not enough exercise for them.
You don't walk him on the street, because if you
No.
did, you'd have to muzzle him.
Muzzle
Okay.
them, correct.
So you want to take the lead off, and the idea that you're asking is that he could not go over the fence.
That's correct.
In that fence, I don't know how the Boston Terrier would get out that fence because it looks so secure. Is that the fence he was getting out of?
Correct.
Yeah.
He's
So
a-
there must be a space somewhere.
Well, it's aluminum, so he just darts through.
It
So
bends.
He's very narrow,
Oh, okay,
so
so it doesn't control.
He goes
it doesn't
through it.
control him.
Okay, so what do you do now to keep the Boston Terrier in?
We're looking into measures, but we didn't see that it was much of a threat, but we can certainly look into measures towards making sure that he does not get out. The conversation is around Tucker, so we know Tucker cannot get out. He is too large.
Right, but the other dogs escaping and people bringing them back actually led to the incident, so.
This is
It
true.
could be really relevant that the other dogs are still getting out or not getting out.
Certainly, we will do anything that is required of you guys. We can do an additional fence inside of a fence if that's required.
Okay, and your front door, it's a very nice front door, but there's no storm door or anything, it's just, you open it and
Correct.
they're out. There's no double system or anything to keep him
Yes, ma'am.
in.
He just now has the harness that it's easier to grab.
But if you were to walk him on the lead, he wouldn't walk on the 45-foot lead?
He doesn't like to. He'll
He
just take
Doesn't
a.
like to. Can you define his behavior that he doesn't like?
Surely. It's a over half-acre lawn. He will take 3 steps off the back patio and do his business and just stand there and want to come in. If I bring the ball out, the other dogs will play, but he will just stand there.
Okay, even
the
if he's
lead.
dragging the lead?
He won't
Okay,
drag the lead.
Just asking, have you talked to a trainer or behaviorist about how we do train dogs to work on long lines?
We have.
And they haven't helped you?
No, not at this point. It costs a lot of money to pay to have a trainer come to your house and teach you how to do these things. We looked into it. It was over $3,000 to have a professional come train him on a lead.
I have to increase my fees. Just-
I completely understand.
Specific.
I'm sorry.
I was actually at the ATF headquarters in Port Royal about three weeks ago, visiting their canine unit. I work for the Department of Justice, and watching these dogs and just the way they're trained, it's just amazing. So I was asking them if they actually would volunteer, or is there dog training that can happen. So I'm looking at every avenue I can to assist my animal and myself to be a better pet owner.
Okay.
I take it you don't have any beware of dog sign up on your property, right?
No, sir.
I'm curious as to why, if you have one dog getting out, and it's gotten out so many times, and it's probably more than 10, has any other neighbors brought that dog back? And the reason I'm getting this is to see your responsibility as a dog owner, why you didn't correct that, you just allowed that dog to keep getting out.
I understand. He was a friendly dog. A lot of times we'll go for a walk and he's actually not on a leash, which I know is probably a bad thing too. But there's many dogs in a neighborhood that just walk in the backyard and do their business without a fence or
The
a
other
gate.
aspect is for the dog's safety. Suppose he would run out in the road and get hit.
This is true. Thank you. That's a very fair point.
Did you answer the question? Did any other neighbors bring that dog back to you?
The answer is yes.
Yeah, other neighbors have,
Correct.
and no incidents with Tucker and the other neighbors, right?
No, no, sir.
How long have you had Tucker?
At the time of the incident, about 6 months.
6 months.
He had just celebrated his 3-year birthday in November.
These pictures of these wounds, are they both Blake's wounds or not the other boys? How badly was the other boy bitten?
We're not on the stand, so I can answer if you guys are comfortable with it.
I actually have a photo.
Yeah, if you've got a photo, if I can see it.
It's on the phone, though.
Yeah, if you want to show me and then show them, we're open to that as well.
I have to find it, I'm sorry. I turned it off.
You're good, your phone will never work when you need it in the moment.
Sorry.
Mr. Ferris, Tucker was never taken by animal control. He has remained at your house for quarantine, and he's never been,
That's correct.
okay.
Yep. When animal control came to the house, they took photos, saw him within the perimeter of the house, and sort of gave me the thumbs up. We didn't have many words. They just took a couple photos.
Okay.
May I approach?
I have no objection to the photos.
No, just show that.
These are the photos of Cooper. He did not get the stitches.
Oop.
I have nothing further to say. Just thank you again for your time. If there's no more questions, again, the only one is just to remove the lead or leash in the backyard when he's back there so he can run around and play. All other aspects of the vicious animal can remain in place, just that one simple amendment is what we're asking for.
How high is this fence?
4.5.
4.5 feet? You sure your little dogs aren't going under it?
He might
Well,
be.
We can actually see.
Yeah,
him
we've seen him dart
squeeze.
through. If there's deer running in the woods in the back, he likes to chase the deer. So we'll see him dart the smaller one and chase the deer and then come back is what
What's the
normally.
distance between the rods on the fence, do you know?
Probably 8 inches.
Oh, okay, no more questions. I know what's happening.
Yeah,
There-
well.
He's
maybe not
going
measuring.
through it.
He's darting
Like it
through.
isn't there.
Exactly. He's, little guy just darts through it.
So you're not asking us to take the vicious dog title off, right?
I don't,
I would,
if that's on the table, then I would accept that, but I don't, I think that's fine to keep it on there. I'm just asking for the amendment of the leash, the lead, the rope that he has to stay on in the backyard so that he can run and play with the other animals. And when I go out there and play Frisbee or baseball or something, he can run freely. That's the only one we are asking. And we're not saying that this incident did not happen. We're not saying that it's not our fault. I'm just asking for the simple amendment. Sorry, it might be a big one.
And has Mr. Ferris complied to all the requests?
We will get into that kind of in our closing arguments, what our requests are, if you wouldn't mind
Great.
waiting.
Has any of the animal control officers been up to Tucker?
Not since the incident, I don't believe.
But prior to that, you have?
Not for Tucker.
Okay.
Or any animal.
Right.
Where did you adopt, you may have it in here, but where did you adopt Tucker from?
Sure. He was a rescue out of Annapolis. It was on Channel 13, WJZ TV. So they have Sunday mornings, they put animal rescues on there. I saw it there, and then I contacted them.
Okay. And there were no issues at the time of adoption that they told you about?
No, sir. He ran free. The owners have a farm, and they're a rescue, so they work on their nonprofit. So they had Tucker, they rescued him, they nursed him back to health. He had some injuries, and he would run free on the farm at their house. And I said, "What's his interaction?" He said, "Oh, no, we have cats and dogs and everything and goats on our farm."
So he was a farm dog.
Yeah, so he was used to
That's
running.
interesting.
What does Tucker weigh?
Approximately 85,
no, I think he's less.
plus or minus.
And what was the name of the hospital you said that you took him to in Mount Airy?
Mount Airy Veterinary Associates.
Mount Airy Veterinary Associates. His vet is Ann Harmis, Dr. Ann Harmis, Harmis. And his groomer is Allison Harding. That he
Is that a
would,
mobile groomer, or do you take him there?
I take him there. I have not taken since we received the information because of the muzzle restriction, so we've been grooming him at home.
Do your properties adjoin each other? They do.
I would say yes, yes.
So this dog, Tucker must have been familiar with the children.
Certainly. He's seen him in the backyard. He'll usually bark, and if he barks too much because he wants to play or whatever, I usually bring him in. And I normally try to bring him in when it's bus time, when the kids are getting out of the bus, because he just likes to bark at them. So I'll bring him in the house.
Have the children ever like played with Tucker before, throw balls for him or anything like that?
No, not that I'm aware of. If any, the next door neighbor has a 3-year-old daughter. He's come over many times to feed our dogs if we're out of town. So him and his daughter have walked in the back, through the back door into the house and have taken care of our dogs when we were out of town. And that's the Equiston family on the other side. And our mailman likes to throw dog treats. So if they're in the backyard, when he pulls up, he'll sit there and throw milk bones over the fence for the dogs to play.
May I add one thing? Is it possible?
Nope.
No, not yet.
Have any other questions for Mr. Ferris?
I've got one question. The day he escaped the front door, he was barking, and you didn't see him, that he got past you?
I was in my office working, the kids were playing, they knocked on the door, ringing the doorbell, 5 of them on the front porch. I went to the front door, he was barking, obviously, all 3 dogs were barking.
Right.
As I opened the handle, he darted out,
Okay.
and I couldn't stop him in time.
And he didn't respond when you called him.
No. Since we've bought him a harness now, so to mitigate any type of risk, we have a harness, we can easily grab him, and we know not to open the front door for any type of risk.
All right. Do you have any further questions, Ms. Moore?
Have you ever, since the incident occurred, let Tucker out without any supervision at all?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Has he ever been supervised by your child?
No.
And he's always been on the lead or on the leash when he's been outside in the backyard?
I believe so.
Okay. Thank you. No further questions.
Okay, now, Ms. Ferris, you can be the witness.
I don't really have much to add to what my husband was saying. I do want to add one thing about the smaller dog escaping. He doesn't just go out of the fence all the time, so that the kids will be playing and all the dogs would be inside the yard and they would be barking, but he doesn't actually go through unless there's deer or there's something else going on. So he actually does stay in the fence. He goes out once in a while if somebody is talking in the driveway or if there's deer, things like that. But when the kids are playing outside, he a lot of times will stay in the yard. So he doesn't always dart through.
Even once in a while is too much.
Yeah. But I wanted to clarify. Thank you.
You don't want to say anything else?
I don't think there's anything else to say.
All right, Ms. Moore, do you have any questions?
I'm just going to briefly ask you the same questions. Has Tucker, to the best of your knowledge, ever been out without supervision in the backyard since the incident occurred? Has he ever been supervised by your child and not you guys went out back? And he's always been on a leash or a lead when in the backyard since this incident?
Well, actually, just to clarify, once in a while, to give him a little bit of exercise to play, we will throw a ball. So that is for like a few minutes.
Okay.
It's maybe a few days a week, just to give him a little bit of that. But that's controlled because he wants that ball.
And that's with you and not
With
your
both.
child? Okay.
Yes, not with child, no.
All right, no further questions.
I have a question for Mr. Krupenberger, if that's all right. Have you seen Tucker outside loose? Have you seen Tucker outside loose since the incident?
Have I seen him outside loose since the incident?
Not outside the fence, but in the fence.
In the backyard?
Yeah, in the backyard,
Yes.
without.
Can I answer this? Because I have video. I've seen it, I have video.
Yeah, well, I'll ask you then. Have you seen Tucker loose in the backyard?
Yes.
Just speak into the microphone, that way we have it.
Yes, I have seen Tucker loose in the backyard.
Okay. without being restrained on any line or?
Without being restrained on any line.
Often, or?
I would say I have seen it with my own eyes once, and I recorded it, and then my children told me about it 2 other times.
And I've seen it 2 other times.
How many times?
I've seen it an additional 2 times. Yep.
That's all since the incident,
It's all been within the past month,
in the past month?
I would say.
So it looks like you're not using that lead, Mr. Ferris, every day then?
As my wife corrected me, she said that we do go outside with them and play ball with them.
What we do?
They are supervised. They can't see my patio, so when they're spying on us, we're on the patio probably.
Sorry, can I speak? We're not spying. When Kyle said he would call our properties adjacent, they are adjacent. We are neighbors in every sense of the word. Our houses are directly next to each other. Tucker sees our children on a regular basis. Their fence line is 8 feet from the 16-foot trampoline that my kids and the neighbors' the neighbors jump on a regular basis. Blake is not an unknown to Tucker. They may have all been on the porch on the day of the incident to let them know, but it's not the first time that Blake has been over there. And normally, and you can see in the incident, like his older sister Bryn was there, the 2 of them have gone over to that house to return Eddie personally on numerous occasions. So if Tucker saw Blake, it was not a new face.
I see in the picture there's another house in there. Is that your house?
I didn't see the picture,
have to
so
see
I
the
can't
pictures, yeah.
confirm that. Do you want me to come up?
Yeah, why don't you come up and take a look at this? Just to make sure this is how close your house is. It's got blue siding on it. Is that your house?
Yes, that's our house.
Okay.
So when, I just want to show you. Do you see this bump right here?
Mhm.
It looks like a little bump out.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell from this angle, but that's our dining room window, our kitchen
Okay.
window. So we weren't spying, we were having dinner the
Okay.
other night, and we could see out the window
Okay.
because it faces, you can see directly their house. I mean, we were just sitting there eating, and he was playing in the
Okay.
backyard.
Not denying that.
Choosing
Did you
one
say you
spot.
deny that or
No,
don't
he-
deny that?
No, I'm not denying it.
Oh,
My
okay.
wife had already said
Okay.
that, yes,
Thank you.
we try to give him some exercise
Okay.
and take him off the lead. Again, that's the whole reason we're.
But you're
even
saying
here.
you're always out there when he's off the lead?
Of course.
Okay.
So if he were off the lead and somehow escaped, he probably wouldn't come back, just like he did in front of the front door, would you say?
It's a hypothetical. I can't answer that question
Yeah.
because he's never escaped through the backyard.
Right.
Any further questions?
I don't have any.
All right,
Did they need to, since there was a little bit more testimony, did the Ferrises need to get, just out of curiosity, time for
all
rebuttals of the?
right, Ferrises, do you have any further testimony based on their testimony?
No, sir, Mr. Dixon.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, then that concludes the evidence and testimony in the hearing, and we will go to closing arguments.
Thank you, Board, for your careful consideration today. This is a heartbreaking incident, and no matter what the outcome is, someone's going to be upset, and we greatly recognize that there's nothing good that can come out of this, no matter what happens at the end of the day. And we greatly appreciated the Ferrises coming here today and being before us and answering truthfully and speaking with you as well. Tucker has been with the Ferrises now for 6 months when this incident occurred. The injuries, as you saw, were great. The literal definition of vicious animal, according to the code, is that any animal that constitutes by its actions a physical threat to human beings, or domestic animals, or both. Unfortunately, a one-time incident within the first 6 months of their ownership, we have fears that it is only 6 months, and dogs take a while to acclimate to their surroundings. Perhaps it never occurs again, and that's the best hope that we can possibly have. But in the meantime, there is concern that the fence that as we've heard testimony today, the neighbors' properties are very close to each other, that a small child could put their hand through the fence if they were retrieving something, or that Eddie could slip through the fence and Tucker could one day decide to follow. There's concerns there. Additionally, we have heard that while Tucker has always been supervised, that he has not been on the leash or the lead. He is a large, potentially approximately 85-pound dog, and there's concerns that he could zip away and zoom away, no matter how much we would love for him to be able to be within that control. And so there is the request that he is always leashed or on a lead when in the backyard, as well as, per the letter, muzzled if he is not restrained behind the fence on the property. We do recognize that Tucker needs exercise. He is a dog that needs to go, but we want to make sure that he is controlled within that time frame. There is concern that there are so many children within this neighborhood and that this could occur again. The wounds were great. There were 2 different children who were injured in this incident, and we simply want to make sure that no other children, adults, or any person are ever harmed again at the conclusion of this. With that, we have nothing further, and we appreciate your time today. We appreciate everybody's time who came up today. Thank you.
All right, does someone want to make a closing statement for the Ferrises?
I think you said you wanted to, Dad.
Yes, I do. Thank you for that. We appreciate that. He is a large dog, and I don't deny that, but the fact that he is 85 pounds and he's a large dog, any large dog could get out at any time and could be a threat to anybody. Just because this has happened one time, I understand this is our fault. This did happen. It did happen one time on our property, but I want to make sure that when you look at all of the evidence, just the fact that he is a large dog, and in a neighborhood with lots of kids, that should not come into play, because there are many large dogs in our neighborhood. So I wanted to make sure that that was addressed. On that note, this is something that happened. We are very, it's something that is terrifying. Nobody wants this to happen. Nobody wants to go through this. We completely understand this is our fault, not the dog's fault, because we did not have full control of him at the time of the incident. All we're asking is that he is able to, for the rest of his life, able to actually play and have his freedom in the confinement of our backyard. Like we said, we have done everything that the letter has asked of us. We will comply with anything that that is decided today, but we would like to be able to give him at least that freedom in the backyard where he is completely confined. Also, our fence is 6 inches into our yard, so the 6 inches outside is still our property. So if somebody does put their hands in, I mean, we've talked to the children, we've talked to the parents, and we've said do not go and try to pet the dogs through the fence, and we can definitely put a warning on the fence around the perimeter to make sure that nobody puts their fingers through the fence. But we will do everything we can in our power to make sure that he is still confined and he is still within the security of our backyard. Anything else?
No, we certainly want to adhere to the safety of the children in the neighborhood, first and foremost, right? They're human people, they're wonderful children, and we never wanted this to happen, so we'll adhere to anything that's requested of us. The safety of the children comes first, obviously. Yes, he's our fur baby, and we want him to have a happy life, but we don't want to hurt any child or anyone in the neighborhood. You know, they're our friends and neighbors, and they will be for a long time. Thank you.
All right, the board will go in the back and deliberate and come back and reach a conclusion.
Everyone for coming in with this case. We can't stress the severity of this case. Regardless of what our outcome is, one important thing is that you all remain good neighbors. That's important. It is very severe when we have children that have been bitten to this extent. Not one victim, but two victims. We feel even that it was probably a drop of responsibility for the Humane Society not to even seize this dog, but to allow that dog to remain where it was. We're not sure why it was allowed to remain there, but it was. 6 months, I don't think, is enough time to get to understand the personality of a dog that's adopted. It takes longer than that. But the extent of these wounds is the important thing. This dog seems like it was not out to play with these kids, but was out to go after these kids. And this could happen again. There's no guarantee it isn't. And we feel, we've all talked, we feel that the Ferrises dropped the ball as far as being responsible dog owners. One fact was your dogs get out of your fence multiple times. You depend on your neighbors to bring your dogs back. You do not do anything to repair the fence or to fix the situation. Just turkey wire or chicken wire around that fence could stop those dogs from getting out. You have an 85-pound Lab Dane, which is a huge dog, could very well go through that fence just like your little dog. There's no guarantee it's not going to do that. We're lucky that that dog, once it got a hold of those children, didn't actually kill them. Because I'm sure you've seen in the media where this has happened before. It's not that uncommon. This was a farm dog. Probably was better to stay on the farm than it is in a neighborhood. So I think we all agree that we're not going to drop the leash, the rule. We also would like a requirement of multiple signs put on your fence that says, "Beware of dog." In my opinion, if it were just up to me, I would have told the Humane Society to seize this dog. It's just not a dog that can be in a neighborhood with children, all the children that are in there. Like I said, we're lucky this wasn't worse. We're lucky those kids, once the dog got a hold of them, didn't attack them till they were dead. Do you have anything you want to add?
Yes, we agree with everything he said, and this isn't based on the size of the dog, but on the behavior of the animal, which is most important. You can't make a decision just based on a breed of dog. We've determined that a lot through research and literature and statistics. But the behavior of this animal is, I think there was a big misunderstanding of dog behavior we agreed on, is that he isn't barking at the fence line to play, but barking and running the fence line commonly is a problem, a behavior problem with animals where they get increasingly aggressive and threatening as they see the target victims outside the fence, very frustrated. And then finally, when they get access to them, they were never trying to play. They break out and they do exactly what they were thinking they were going to do. The front door alone, I don't think is secure enough. We talked about that. I would have a double barrier up by that front door because that's where he escaped. With 3 dogs barking at the door and they're not listening and not under control, it's easy, even with a large man at the door trying to stop an 85-pound animal that's bolting out with a tiny harness. Not sure that's adequate. I would find a way to get him back from that front door so he can't do that. There are other security methods in the backyard where you can install invisible fence in addition to your fence so that the dogs cannot breach that boundary. I think there's also a misunderstanding of training at exorbitant rates. When we train dogs, They are dragging 50 to 100-foot lines, depending on if we're doing protection work, scent work, herding, and they routinely work with those lines on. So that is something that's been misunderstood that you can discuss with a behaviorist or a trainer. There are many ways to exercise a dog other than throwing a ball. I know that's a common problem that we see, but there are many things you can do to exercise a dog mentally and physically. So these are the reasons that we feel we are upholding, and again, we are surprised that the dog is still on the property because it's going to take one accident. He's only 3 years old, where he could repeat this behavior again. It'll only take one mistake.
And if that little dog can run through that fence, that 85-pound dog can run through that fence. I'm still trying to get over the fact that he was not seized. I think he should have been seized. It's a good thing I don't work for the Humane Society. I would have had to seize him.
Thank you. Is there anything else?
So you will receive a written decision following this deliberation. And
Any questions?
Nope.
Thank you.
Have a great day.